The game is about the game is about not being in that situation in the first place. The game is about not being in that situation in the first place. I do have a clip for context I'm gonna play for you guys right now, and we'll go ahead and dive into the discussion. Sounds good? All right, here we go.
I think the game is fixing situations. All of you guys hit me up, and I be seeing these goofy ass red pill dudes. All of their advice is tailored around fixing shitty situations. The game is about not being in that situation in the first place, picking the right women, not trying to, what do I do when my girl is going out and my girl is, going on girls trips? What do I do? How do I deal with that? So these guys think game is fixing that. Game is learning how to spot the women who don't do shit like that and seducing them. Not having a magic wand to fix shitty situations, to fix dirtbag. That ain't what the fucking game about.
All right, let's go ahead and hop right into it. The game is about not being in that situation in the first place. I'm gonna go ahead and start with you first, Lady Di. I see you with that smile. What are your thoughts about that?
You always pick me first. So I mean, I agree. Why would you complain about something that you picked? Meaning you had a choice to pick someone that is good for you or someone that's bad for you. No, we're not going to know the right answers, but some people do show signs and we just tend not to read it. So since we're talking about men here, men sometimes wouldn't choose the right woman because how she looks. So sometimes the looks would kind of trump over what she really is about. So I think that we just got to be more mature when we're picking, so we won't have to be in, messed up situations. And I'm not talking about all scenarios. I'm saying when you get older, because I know when we're young, we make mistakes. But as you get older, you can't keep, making the same mistake and be like, hey, why isn't my girl doing this and that? Well, she's not going to do it because that's not the type of woman you chose. So you should just choose right. And if you don't know how to choose right, I know you know somebody that has a good woman, go ask that man. Or go pay attention to women who are married. You don't have to know anybody. Just be observant.
All right. Also, I'm going to go to you. The game is about not being in that situation in the first place. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, essentially, it is. I would think that it's you can't pick. If you have to worry about what your woman is going to do, you clearly made a decision to go after and pursue the wrong woman. It's not that difficult. It's really a matter of your vetting process. If I got to worry about the woman, if I'm dealing with a woman, and Nicole Michelle talks about this quite a bit, it depends on what I've seen is women that we classify as 8s, 9s, 10s. Those are what she would call for the game, right? If you got to worry about that, if your game ain't that tight, then you'll have those thought processes. You'll be worried about what is she doing in this situation. Or if you are on that upper echelon of men and you feel like you don't have to worry about it, you don't have to ask those kinds of questions. But it all comes down to a vetting process. How confident are you in your abilities to keep somebody secure with you? That's really what it boils down to. It's a confidence thing.
Okay. Chanel, what are your thoughts about that? The game is not about being in that situation in the first place.
I definitely agree. My mom always told me to learn from other people's mistakes. Of course, you're going to make mistakes as a human being in life, but in our community, we can't afford to be making the same mistake over and over and over again. As a woman, I was able to pinpoint what crappy men looked like without even having to date them. So I think it's very important for us to be visual, use our eyes, use our common sense, and see, okay, that guy's gangbanging, that guy's dealing drugs. Okay, he's a bad guy. Let's not try to date him. Same thing for men. Just because she's hot doesn't mean she's a good person. So I think a lot of men, just like Lady Di said, they kind of use their eyes to replace with their heart. And they tend to just go for the hot woman and ignore the super big red flags that are in them. And it just kind of ends up going bad. And then they say, oh, all women are like that. When no, all women that you look at are like that.
Mr. Let Go. I'm going to chime in, sir. The game is about not being in that situation in the first place. What are your thoughts?
Well, I always say you don't know somebody until something stupid happens. So the vetting process is a process. Shout out to my guy King Dre, but I think it's important, and I know it's a 1-minute clip and you can't put everything in it, but you can't just pick the right woman by just looking at them, because just like y'all are saying, guys are picking the wrong woman by just looking at them. It goes both ways. So you have to, one, have conversations and get deep with the conversations to see how they operate and what they believe in, things like that. Because at the end of the day, a woman, just like a man, they're gonna lie. They're gonna put on a front, and they're gonna be within their. You know how sometimes you'll meet a woman and she's just real dainty and she's really like, well, I don't do this. Next thing you know, something happens and she's totally different. A lot of women do that. So it's a lie that most women are telling in the beginning anyway. So it takes a process, and you got to have a process instilled in you where no matter what woman you date, you're not going to go too fast. You're not going to go too far until that process has, gone through itself. Because at the end of the day, a woman can turn around and screw you over just like a man can turn around and screw a woman over. So it's simple to say, pick the right woman or pick the right man. You got to have a process of understanding who's in front of you, because it's bigger than just picking somebody. It's actually choosing somebody, and picking and choosing is different. You pick flowers, you choose a house.
Okay. Nicole, I'm coming to you. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, the game has been replaced with simple wisdom that we're supposed to get from mom and dad. We're supposed to pick up social cues and understanding how the opposite sex and how people operate in day-to-day life from watching those who set examples for us. And a lot of people didn't have that, unfortunately. So they resort to the game to kind of guide them or give them some type of wisdom on how to select. And that can go good or bad. And a lot of times it goes bad because at the very least, there's no mentorship. So we rely on a lot of people who give the game based on their own experiences and their own data and however they feel, their emotions and things like that. So in theory, yes, we're supposed to be able to sniff out bad situations. But when we rely on the game instead of wisdom and sound advice from knowledgeable people, knowledgeable sources, then we get caught up.